good. I want to start this podcast with an announcement. I'm leaving. It's over. I've an announcement. No. People have been emailing me, and rightly so, I suppose, that when you listen to this podcast on YouTube, there's like 64 million ads that run the whole way through it. So what I want to say to people starting off, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you're probably going to get assaulted with 64 million ads. So you have a couple of options. You can get an ad blocker, which I assume 95% of the world uses. But some people have, they're not into them. They don't like the idea of it morally. So I understand that. So what I would suggest is either go to Spotify, go to...
What? People are morally against ad blockers.
Yeah, because
it's not murder.
No, what I mean in that it's stopping creators from getting paid. So they have this thing, I'd rather just have the ads on, blah blah blah, but then give out about the ads too. That's just the nature of us all. We want everything perfect, but that's not the nature of the world. So what I would suggest people is go to Spotify, go to SoundCloud, go to iTunes, go to literally anywhere where you can get the podcast, and you will just get an ad-free version of the podcast.
Yes.
But I do understand how annoying ads are, especially now that YouTube do the double ads. So if you have it on in the background, you're getting two ads, and some of the ads can be like 4 minutes long, and you go like, "What are you doing?" But the actual settings I have are: do you want ads or not? That's it.
Okay, yeah, you have no control over that at all,
No, so I can't say put 24 ads in or put 2 ads in. I can say I want ads during it, before it, or after it. That's my options.
Probably during is better, is what I would pick. There's nothing worse than ads before you watch something.
No, I think I have that off. Or maybe I don't. I can't remember. But I definitely have the ads after, because, why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
And I don't mind, because I thought the ads during it were, sometimes the text comes up on the screen that annoys no one. Something like that. But no, it's actual, stops in the middle to try and sell you ESB.
I think I have 2 ad blockers. I have two on Chrome, and I have 2 other ones on Firefox, and I still get ads, So I don't know, nothing much you can do. Although not on YouTube, because I for some reason I listen to them on YouTube as well. I don't know why. It's yours is the only podcast I listen to on YouTube, other than the odd Joe Rogan one. Sometimes I've kind of gone off. I have gone off him. I'm not. It depends on the guest.
Yeah, even now, I'm not even looking to see what guests he has. I just kind of, I don't know, the whole bro pandemic response thing just got my nerves a bit. So, and I think Bill Burr, that section with Bill Burr schooling Joe Rogan was the last time that I watched Joe Rogan.
Schooling, yeah. Teaching, Tommy. The word is teaching.
sharing the knowledge in a shameful.
Oh, I totally schooled that man. Yeah, you obviously done very well in school if you speak like that, didn't you? Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro. It's entirely possible that I did do well at school. Give it a try, DMT. Alchemy.
So what's new, Tommy? Oh, come here. Right, yeah, I have questions. What's this novena thing all about? What's going on there?
Oh, the Days of the Saint. Essentially, there is a kind of a thing that's done, a novena, every year to Saint Cyprian. And it depends. Some people started today, and then which is the Saint Cyprian of Carthage, which is not the Saint Cyprian of the kind of occult world. He's the very conservative Christian, apologetic, very serious anti-magic type dude. But it's Cyprian of Antioch, and his thing is the 25th, his feast day. Although he's been excommunicated and not a real saint, and the Catholic Church don't want anything to do with him, so he's not, he's a folk saint. And depending on the country, he's very much treated as a saint in, say, Brazil or Spain and stuff like that. So there's the 9 days.
What's his claim to fame? What did he do?
Saint Cyprian. Well, there's the whole story of Cyprian and Justina. He became very, very popular in cults. Oh, YouTube's going to demonetize me for that slip.
You said countries.
In occult circles a while ago, there was a load of books coming out about him, and I tried my best. I read them all, tried to get in on them, and he was had no interest in me whatsoever. I even went on a pilgrimage to Romania to see his relics, which was at the end of the day, it was cool. And I got to see his relics and got a nice photo of the saint and St. Cyprian's hand.
But this is the occult fella. This isn't the cat, the other one.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so between Carthage's feast day and Cyprian's feast day is 9 days. And so people use that as novena, which is like in the Catholic tradition of 9, you go to Mass every day for 9 days or 9 weeks or some sort of form of 9. The clue's in the name, novena, 9. So what I do is I've stolen that in my best possible chaos magic way to turn that into the Days of the Saint, which is a kind of a 40 servants ritual using the saint and having the novena between those days. And it's kind of the first day, which is today, is kind of just trying to work out what do I want? Why am I doing this? What's this about? What am I looking for? All of that. And then you do the 9 days where you contemplate it, you ask for help, you through the saint, because the saint, of course, is about intercession and asking the help of experts, and that kind of archetype. And in the same way in Catholicism, like it's the intercessionary aspect of the saints, where you go up to Saint Joseph and go, will you help me out? Will you ask God to do this, because he's on a higher up the hierarchy than you. He's got he can talk to God, whereas we can't. So that's kind of the use of the saints, which is totally against Catholic teaching, but it's wide open and just there, like it ever does it. And so just kind of decide what you want, and then try to get the saints to whisper it in God's ear, and then at the end you have a big feast day where everyone's happy. That's the idea.
Great. I'm not burning my box though.
No, I'm not into burning the box.
There's no fucking way I'm burning that. That box is really nice.
I know, and it took me ages to design it. There was a guy called Daniel McSpiel who was, when we were going round at the beginning of the 40 Servants, he was in CMG as well, and he was a very interesting character, very manic, mercurial sort of a dude, very interesting. He ended up in prison at one point. They just kind of this day, he goes, right, my life is falling apart, I'm going to prison tomorrow. And I was like, what? And then disappeared for about a year and came back for about a week, and then he was gone again. So if you're out there, please get back in contact, because you were good fun. But he started the box burning. It was him who did it first, and it just everyone started doing it very quickly after. And I was like, don't do that.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. Why would anyone? Why? It's like, could you imagine like a carpenter gets like a new set of spanners and brings them home? He's like, I have these deadly new set of spanners. They're fucking tungsten, termite, fucking strongest. This shit'll work in fucking Venus. It's so strong. But you know what? Fuck the box.
Well, I think it's a kind of that ritual kind of thing of bringing them into your life and personalize them, putting them in your own box in your own home, and giving them a new home. It's like, I suppose, when you get a dog and his name is I don't know, Whiskey, and you go, well, I'm not calling you Whiskey, your name is now Jim, because you're now my dog. It's something like that. It's like
visions of the only Irishman in Cheshire walking down the road shouting, Whiskey! Whiskey!
All right, Jim, where are you? Yeah, so I think it's just that. But I put it in the grimoire because so many people are doing it and so many people enjoyed it. I was like, but I do say in the grimoire, I don't do it. I didn't do it. I'm not intending to do it. I'm not advising you to do it. But
because then you have to get something else to put the cards in. Like they already have a thing to be in. Why do you want to?
Yeah, no, people love that. People love that. I've a wooden box for them as well. But
yeah.
It was bought for me in cent.
It's the same with the tarot thing. You're supposed to keep your tarot cards in silk. Why? They're perfectly fine in the box. Like,
yeah, because it brings bad luck to them.
Nonsense.
No, you're not allowed. Anyone
nonsense.
else is not meant to touch your tarot cards.
Nonsense.
And you're also not meant to buy tarot cards. You're only meant to.
How can you not? But we've had this before. How can you not buy tarot cards?
I don't know. You just go around and go, I'd love a set of tarot cards.
Jeez, I'd love a set. Do a sigil for tarot cards, and you'd end up with tarot. But then you'd end up with the Rider White deck, and you don't like him. You want the Aleister Crowley one because that's where all the good shit fucking happens. We all know that. And yeah, it's just I don't know. I really struggle with the. Now it's not just magic. I have this thing that I'm kind of an anti-traditionalist. I don't.
Right.
The whole idea of tradition is like, yeah, look, we started doing something 50 years ago and now everyone does it, so it's tradition. Yeah, but like, we didn't do it 150 years ago, so it's not really tradition. Yeah, but it's tradition now. No. You're missing the point. 150 years ago, we didn't do this thing. But now we do it because some people did it 50 years ago. Yeah. Do you not see the problem here? No, I follow tradition. Like, what the no, that's pointless. Like the whole thing with, Irish dancing. Irish dancing has this thing with the arms are always at the side.
Irish Jansen. That's
Here's George Jetson, and so the hands are always at the straight at the sides doing Irish dancing. Whoa,
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Yeah.
And it's like, why is that? Oh, it's because it remembers the people that died in the famine. Ah, right, yeah. And so like before the famine, did they move their hands around a lot?
All akimbo.
Yeah, did they move their hands around a lot? And they're like, we don't know. And the reason we don't know is because Irish dancing isn't traditional. It's totally made up. It's just like kilts in Scotland. It's not a real thing. It's made up.
Yeah.
You know, like we eat turkey at Christmas. Why? Because Americans have it at Thanksgiving. What? That's the reason. It's ridiculous. We used to have goose. No one eats goose anymore. It's turkey. Why? Because Americans have it at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving isn't Christmas. Yeah, I don't know. Carp in Poland. They eat carp at Christmas in Poland because one year the communists obviously the communists were in power. They were like, shite. We've too much carp in the rivers and the lakes. New tradition, new idea. You all have to eat carp at Christmas because fish, and you're not allowed to have meat. And that's been a tradition for like 30 or 40 years now. And no one really knows why. They just eat this disgusting fish that nobody likes. And it's bony. And everyone complains about it. And they're like, why do we eat this? It's tradition. Yeah, but it's fake. It's so fake. Do you know? Anyway, rant over.
That all said, though, there is, within, I suppose, the Western magical tradition, there's a lot to be said for it. That I do like the kind of idea of, there's this kind of a thought, I suppose, and we'll square around to this later on because it was Alan Chapman who kind of pointed it out to me, and he's kind of saying like that if you're trying to try and work out what it is, you know, you're always coming from a place of wrongness or, you know, mistaken identity, or as his words, or, you know, you're not able to work it out. So if you kind of set up your own system in the way we do in Chaos Magic, where, you know, you pick from here, you pick from there, that's all fundamentally based on the fact of, you know, not being able to see you know, how to get out of it. It's like Einstein saying you can't fix a problem using, you know, the consciousness that created it. So that you need some sort of tradition or some sort of teaching or some sort of thing that had it at some point right, and so that, you know, can show you the way. And you might disagree with it along the way, but there is, you know, that's the kind of the missing element to your syncretic, you know, eclectic chaos
Jesus,
magic.
I wouldn't be disagreeing with any of that kind of stuff because that's more.
So just eat the fucking carp. You know what I mean?
Eat the fucking carp. I've never had it. No one's ever made it for me, and I will definitely eat it. No, but I just mean that like I have this thing that's, I just find it weird that people make up these traditions which have no founding, because what you mentioned there has a founding.
Yeah.
You know, Hermes spoke to the lizard or whatever, and it comes from.
But surely there was a spud knocking around, and Hermes comes down and goes, "Oh, I have some ideas. I have this tablet. It's emerald." Oh, and Spud goes, "Yeah, but did you have it last week?" It's not tradition, is it?
No, that's not what I mean. You know, that's not what I mean. You're only fucking trying to get a rise out of me. You know, that's not what I mean. I just mean, like, I know. Someone decided that, like, oh yeah, well, we have to have silk around the tarot cards, and you know. That was Jane in number 52 on the street. But poor old Karen in 57, she had hers in wool. And because her name's Karen, she wasn't popular enough. And so they went with fucking silk. I mean, it's just pointless. Like,
yeah, but
they're in a box.
I know, but I wonder, well, probably originally they didn't come in a box. You know what I mean? Like the very first ones didn't have these nice little packages.
Shut up with your smartness, all right?
Yeah. And I suppose it was the whole thing of, you know, to will, to dare, to be silent, all that stuff where you're not meant to, show it off. So it was probably a way of hiding it. And then it just became kind of, because, you know, people got killed for having these things, burnt alive, all of that stuff. But again, you can pick any one of the kind of examples that you're saying and, you know, come up with some reason. But I know what you're saying, that it's just because we've decided to do it the last couple of years that now it's the law.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
and how quickly we fall into that. Like,
but look, this is why, like, when I kind of got into this occulty, magic-y stuff, I very quickly went to the kind of source of things and found the Kabbalah, rather than just being like, you know, I might try and have a chat with this god or that god. I was like, no, come on, I'm more into getting to the root of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. You reminded me of something. You were talking about the dog. I had a weird fucking thing with there on holidays. I was walking the dog one night on my own, and usually we'd go together, me and Aga. It's a really dark village. Like they turn off the lights, or the street lights only come on between, I think, 7 and 10 o'clock at night, kind of thing. You know, they turn them off at 10 because everyone's gone to bed because it's a farm.
Is that tradition? Is it
rural community? That's tradition. Yeah. So I was walking the dog anyway, and we've discovered these kind of old. Older roads in the village was leveled after World War II because the Polish and the Ukrainians had another war that went on for 2 years, beating the shit out of each other, and so there's all these kind of parts of the village that are there and they're known about, but they're not really known about. So you kind of stumble upon them. So anyway, so we found this one walkway, and I was walking the dog, and the dog's name is Hector. Now
I thought it was whiskey.
Yeah, no, not whiskey. Now we were given him with the name Hector. It's not his first name because he was found. So we got him from a pound or a shelter. So I'm walking the dog and it's pitch dark. I have like a miner's light on my head and the light on me phone as well. Cause like it's bear country, you know. There's wolves, and bears, and bison, all kinds of fucking things. And so I'm walking along. And next thing, like I'm walking kind of behind people's gardens, but like it's well back in the back of their gardens. And it's night, it's dark. Next thing I hear this, Hector.
Oh no.
Hector. And the dog doesn't move a fucking muscle. The dog. I'm like, shit, he didn't hear that. I'm hearing that. And there's another one. And as well, it wasn't, I had to think about it. Aga asked me as well when I was describing her. She was like, did they say it like the way you say Hector or the way a Polish person would say Hector? Because in the Polish language, they roll their R's like in Spanish. I can't do it. You know, thing. I haven't a fucking clue. So I think it was kind of in someone who doesn't do that. But then again, like her mom, she's very Polish and she can't do it. My kid, boy, he can't do it either, and he's half as well. But anyway, and I'm like, what the? And then there was a third time the voice went Hector, and
was it like a whisper or like someone calling, or
it was like someone calling, but it wasn't loud enough to be like calling a dog. It's not like Hector. It's not that. It's like spoken call, and it was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and I didn't turn around. I just kept walking. I'm not looking behind me. I'm not looking behind me. I don't want to know what's there. And I just kept walking, stayed calm, and just went down to the next crossroads, and turned for home. And I was shook by it, man. I was like, what the fuck? Was like, because it's not a popular dog's name, you know. It's not like
at all.
Rex,
or I'm sure it's not a Polish name
in the 80s, you know. And I don't know. It's just weird.
Oh, there's no resolution to this. You didn't find an old woman who was looking for Hector or anything.
Oh no, I have no idea what happened. That's the end of the story. I have no idea what happened. Oh. But the weirdest thing is the dog didn't react. Like, the dog knows his name by now. We've had him for a few months. He knows his name. I was like, oh, what the fuck? The saddest thing about having a dog is the dog will never know your name. Isn't that depressing?
It's not true.
Apparently it's true, yeah.
But like, I mean, if I said to either of my dogs, go over and get some food off Vanessa, they know what I'm on about. And we'll go over to it.
They know food.
Yeah, but they'll walk to Vanessa.
Okay, you know, maybe they do then. Maybe
no, but fake. I mean, I don't. No, I'll have to test it. One of my dogs definitely won't respond because she's blind, deaf, and 904. But the other one, I'll see. I had a dream about us, but it's an interesting dream. Yeah, it's a really you'll understand. So I've been. Getting back very much into the Alan Chapman stuff we've talked about before we went on holidays, reading lots of the Magia stuff, the new stuff, come back and reading Baptist Head stuff and all that. So then I kind of just went to bed one night, as you do, and I hadn't really been reading the stuff. I obviously had been drinking or something, so I wasn't necessarily, because I can't there's a point I can read and drink and then it's like, no, not happening. So anyway, it was middle of the night, obviously not if it's a dream. And so we're in this house, just kind of, it's like a house, similar to a house that would be in Ireland, in the kind of, those kind of streets where they're, not single story necessarily, but old kind of cottage houses, but in an urban environment that you kind of get.
Okay,
off the
like
side street of a main street.
like off South Circular Road, those terrace kind of houses. Like
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you were in the front room or whatever, and it was me and you, and there was a couple of other people, but that they don't feature. But it wasn't just me and you, and it was kind of run down, empty, kind of abandoned, but not that it wasn't like derelict or anything. It wasn't as if people had been slumming there or whatever. It just hadn't been used in a while, and it was kind of very dark, and there was still bits of ornaments and stuff around. But what it turned out to be was that this used to be Duncan Barford's room when he was doing the Baptist Head trilogy. And so he was kind of, we got some sort of message through that he'd taken all the stuff that he needed from this and had moved on to the next stage or whatever. But that anything that we found that we could keep, and it could become part of our journey. So I found this tiny wee wizard doll type thing or whatever, and you found some sort of, I don't know what it was. It was like some sort of metal thing. I can't remember what it was. But you were kind of going, oh yeah, we're the new guys. And then we kind of went, after a while, hold on a minute. Duncan didn't even want this stuff. What the fuck are we doing? And we just left. I don't want his wee crappy wizard that even he didn't want. Look to Duncan.
Getting his sloppy seconds, But
it was like, at the beginning, it was like, oh, awesome. We're the new, we're chosen. We're in the next in the lineage. It's like, I know, we're just going through the dregs of some person's rubbish. So I woke up, and that kind of thing when you wake up and you just kind of laugh at yourself, but that was stupid.
I don't know. There's a lot to read into that, Tommy,
I know there is, though. I mean, there's a lot of symbolism. And I mean, from the Magia point of view of doing a binding on a dream, you could have a field day with that. Anyway, so.
Yeah. I was telling you about one I had while I was away. About Carl Jung. It was pretty fun. I had, because I'd been reading that I sent it to you. What's the name of the book? Through the Mists or something like that. It's a Jungian. Like
an onion.
Onion. It's an onion view. The onion's view of the Celtic myths. Yeah. So, and he's a Jungian professor, teacher, and he takes his knowledge and dissects the myths of the Celts and all that stuff. So I've been. First week down there, I read loads. Second week, I was too busy working, too tired. But I had a dream. I was in Carl Jung's house, and I met the wife, I met the mistress. Bit of tension there. Right. But, Carl didn't care.
Mistress number 1 or mistress number 2 or mistress number 3?
No, the mistress, that was the secretary, so the longer one. Bit of tension. Carl just kind of laughed it off. Oh, we are what we are. Kind of thing. Then we're sitting in his garden. The Lake of Geneva is there for some reason, even though he didn't live in the Lake of Geneva, he lived further. Anyway, it didn't really matter. And he was explaining all of his bits to me. So the shadow, the animus, the anima, yada, 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 individuation, yada, yada, everything. And I was sitting there going, yeah, okay. No, I'm just not getting it. Please, just hold on a minute. And he produced this tray of
Carl Jung Indian, is he?
Carl Jung. Fuck off. Oh, please, hold on. No, that's definitely getting demonetized now. So he produced this tray of biscuits, and they were little biscuits of Carl Jung's head.
Did they have semen in the ingredients?
And he would give me a biscuit, I would eat a biscuit, and then I went, I got it. Okay, I know now. I get the whole shadow thing. And then we talk about the anima next, and same thing. Like I'd struggle halfway through, and I just not really getting it. So okay, here's a biscuit. I get the biscuit. Yeah, obviously, great. So I had all these Scooby snacks, man, and it was full of knowledge. I woke up the next morning and was like, God damn it! Dream!
Where's my biscuits?
Fuck it anyway. And there was a string quartet after that as well.
But of course.
We romped around the garden drinking tea and having cucumber biscuits. There was another dream I had a day or two later about Gurdjieff. And it was like I was in an 8-bit like Super Mario Donkey Kong.
All right, yeah.
This was my life, and I'd jump along, go, ba-doing, collect coins or whatever.
Oh, like a mechanical man, maybe.
Yeah, okay. I don't get that reference, but okay, I'll say okay.
That's Gurdjieff.
Okay, so I don't know enough about him, you see. I've only know a little bit about him. And every time I would do something right in my life, I left this bit out. There was a huge head of Gurdjieff up in the top right corner of where like your hearts would be if it was a game.
Oh, your
sort of
lives.
thing.
Yeah.
There was a massive smiling head of him, sorry. And if I do something right in my life, he would spin around and he'd smile. But if I did something clockwise, and obviously, and if I did something bad, he'd spin anti-clockwise and frown. Yeah. That was my dream.
Oh, brilliant.
And I had loads of dreams down there, man. I started getting these what do you call them? Mandala dreams as well.
All right.
They start off like really intensely blue, and then they turn and then there's bits of white and gold come into it, and it's like a kaleidoscope. It's mad. I've never had mandala dreams before.
Right.
Ever.
Are you eating weird Polish country mushrooms by any chance?
No. Next question.
Dreams are really interesting. It could be quite funny, but there's nothing worse than someone telling you a dream that isn't funny and just goes on and on. And it kind of reminded me when I listened to that book, High Weirdness. You're really going to enjoy it, most of it.
Yeah, I'm good, but the intro is very long. Oh God, it's far too long.
When it gets to the Philip K. Dick stuff, it's just essentially a load of drug stories, and not even interesting ones. It's like he sat at home and wrote, 500 pages on drugs. Next day, he sat at home and wrote 900 pages on drugs. And I just kind of like other people's drug stories are like, other people trying to tell you dreams. Like it's just kind of they're great for you, what it's like. But you have funny dreams. I always like listening to your dreams. It's always bad. The Gurdjieff one is interesting because his whole thing is that he, man is kind of like an automaton, like a mechanical man, like a computer game running on a tract or whatever. So his spinning when you're doing something right would mean that you're, developing a soul. Because he would say you don't come here with a soul.
That's
you have
funny,
to earn it. You have to work on it. Yeah, which is the work. I think we'll segue. Because if we don't, we're just going to talk about our dreams, and no one wants that. Magia. So, Alan Chapman, I have fully converted you to the ways of the Baptist head. I think at this point, you were never kind of. I suppose you dipped in from the beginning. You started Blood of the Saints almost immediately, didn't you? Or am I remembering that wrong?
Yeah, fairly soon. After getting but I read Advanced Magic for Beginners first.
Yes.
I think that was the first kit. That was the first magic book I read. Totally. And I bought the Liber Null and Psychonaut the same day, and I still haven't read that one. That's still on the shelf to be read. Yeah, I know I probably won't read it because
I don't.
Anyway.
Just look at my study group on Patreon and you'll find out all you need.
So
that's where I get really, really annoyed with him. Like sitting on the stairs and really fell for him, going, this fucking book.
So what did I start reading? I started reading The Urn first because I wanted to know more about the HGA, and then I went, no, actually I need to read The Blood of the Saints first because, it's such a cool idea for them to have put that out as a book because obviously the Baptist Head website, podcast, and everything is gone, but there is still this collection of the writings of the website, and to put it into 3 different volumes is pretty cool as well,
Yeah, and then take them off sale as well. That's always good.
Yeah, I hope it comes back eventually, though. I don't know. I'd be hopeful.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I understand the read. Duncan, as far as I know, it was him who finally pulled the Baptist Head website and the videos and all that kind of stuff, just because he wanted to move on with his life and, had different things that he wanted to do. So I do understand it. And I do understand, the biggest thing that's thrown against Alan Chapman is he does stuff and then deletes it. That's I suppose, the big gripe that people seem to have. And it's because I remember putting up on Reddit when Wise Up, or, it wasn't even Wise Up, it was called The Fountainhead. At that time, it was Fountainhead, yeah, and it was the immediate response was, I'll give it 3 weeks and it'll be deleted, and he did delete it, but what he did, he rebranded it to Wise On, but I kind of, given the kind of ideas, I suppose, or his kind of way he looks at life or whatever, that it's continuing kind of evolution or whatever, I do understand the need to kind of move things, see where it goes, not hold on to the past and kind of see where it goes. But it can be quite
but look, it's like that thing
infuriating, I suppose, then to when things are gone, you know.
Well,
Like,
it is for the likes of us, but to be honest, I mean, he doesn't owe us anything. So, like, yeah, it's annoying for us. It's that there's nothing there that we can look up quickly or find quickly. Like, I mean, you know, you got to look fairly hard for the old Baptist Head podcast and stuff. Now, you'll find the books as PDFs easy enough, but like, the other stuff is harder to get. But
yeah, they're on archive.org because I uploaded them.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh, okay. Well, like,
with permission, I have to say, with permission.
Like, the thing is, like, I remember saying this to my shrink years ago, and she was kind of a bit, I don't know why, she made a funny face. She was kind of shocked about it. I don't know why. But it's something I picked up from one of the lads off the Freakonomics podcast. He used to say it a lot. Not the host, the smart guy. He used to say that, like, you know, failing is really, really good in your life, because when you fail at something, you know you're not good at it. You know you can restart. So take every failure as a lesson, kind of thing. You know. And I was saying that to her. I was like, look, like, I've done so many things in my life that I've been absolutely terrible at and haven't worked and lost money on and lost friends on and da. But fail often, you get better. You know, she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, it's a good way of looking at it." And sure, Samuel Beckett had it as well. Fail hard. What was it? What's it? Try, fail better.
Yes.
You know?
That's Samuel Beckett, is it? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was Godot. Maybe it was something. Maybe it was the next one. But, it doesn't really matter. And so, like, I totally get why he does that, or why they do that with the website.
I think, though, in a sense, though, I don't see them, I suppose, as fails in the way he. I can't speak for Alan Chapman. Maybe he doesn't see them as fails either, but like as the incomplete iteration of the teaching, I suppose, would be one way of putting it. But I just kind of like some of the videos from the Baptist Head days are quite funny, and it's, you know, it's like I kind of wish I had have recorded them up, but maybe, you know, Downloader didn't exist at the time, and I wasn't able to anyway. But I would like to see some again. He was mentioned at some point that maybe they'll, you know, write a book about the Baptist Head, you know, and collect everything together, but not just the blog posts or whatever, an actual biography of the thing. Because it's really, what I love about the Baptist Head thing is that it's two guys going, right, is this possible? We think it's possible. Let's do it. And then go and do it. And, you know, very honest and open about the experiences about it. And people got quite annoyed with them over the fact of, you know, claiming they were awakened, because it's this whole thing of you don't talk about that, you know. And I remember someone, I won't say who it is, but someone quite well known in the cult circle messaged me about Alan, saying that you know, it's not for you to say you're awakened, it's for other people to say you're awakened. And I was kind of going,
nonsense.
That's nonsense. I mean, we're either doing this and believe this, or we're not. Is it, you know, like, it's like the whole kind of thing of magic is this kind of ascent, if we want, apart from the, you know, the sigil to get your, you know, your ex-boyfriend back, that, not that type of magic, but the, you know, the better yourself, the whole individuation stuff of Jung, and, you know, the rising above the ranks and crossing the abyss, whole guardian angel of the, you know, the Telema AA, that kind of stuff, or, you know, the whatever, all the different kind of things around it. And so what, we just have to assume that you can't get there, that it's wrong to think you can get there, that it takes so many lives, that it's like, who are you to say that you have achieved this? It'd be like, I suppose, like if you were an accountant and hey, you know, I passed my accountancy exams, I'm an accountant now. Oh no. That's for other people to say if you're an accountant or not. But I did all the things, I passed all the tests, did all. No. You don't talk like that. That's
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It is ridiculous, I think. Yeah,
that's the whole tradition thing that we, you know, like at the beginning of the podcast. It's like, oh no, we don't change things.
But I think it's more of a thing of that you're not. It's not that you're not allowed to talk about be awake and say. It's that you can't think you're special. Who are you to think you're special? And that's not what it is. Because anyone who has any sort of an awakening experiences, they're not suddenly, I don't know, rich or better off, you know, their problems don't go away. They just have a different perspective on things, which is the, you know, the whole idea of it. It's not that and even in the kind of the newer Magia talks, I keep saying Magia, but it's Magia, that he did for the anniversary, where he's talking about the whole idea of prophets and father prophets, and saying that how insignificant the Alan Chapman becomes in, you know, the kind of, you're no special, you're not special, whatever, but it's the realization is the special thing, you know, that.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, like, I know, I was so delighted when you got into Alan Chapman and Duncan Balfour now, because most people other than Beanot and a few other people, obviously in the Magia community. Most people don't like him, don't want to talk about him, or the kind of I don't know, his kind of things. He seems to. Remember when we did the study group for advanced magic for beginners, and then people were kind of into it, but it annoyed a lot of people, and it's kind of people are saying, I don't like his attitude, and I've gone, it's just been irreverent and funny, he's not, taking that. And people, I suppose, the other thing about advanced magic for beginners, people think Alan is an awful lot older than what he is when he wrote it, like he's like a man in his 50s or 60s or something like that. But he's 27 when he wrote it too, and that seems to come as a shock to people. What was your kind of when you read Advanced Magic for Beginners? What was your? Yeah,
that comes across, that kind of cheeky little bollocks kind of thing does come a lot across. But like, you can take that as what it is. It's funny. It's irreverent, as you say. It's kind of laughing at some of the stuff because, like, I don't know, man. It's just, me and my problem with ceremonial and ritual magic. It's just, I mentioned this regarding Eccles as well, Damien Eccles as well. Is that like, well, I have this in normal life anyway. I think conservatism is just standing still. Like if we're not progressing or building on what's happened before, then you're standing still. It's like, if you're the manager of a football team and you've just won the league, say, and you've done brilliantly, you've won the league, first time in 20 years, everyone's delighted. But all the other teams around you buy lots of new players that summer, and you're like, no, I'm grand. Sure, we just won it. We'll win it again. No, that's awful. And that's my problem with Eccles and the like of that, what's the other big guy in America? Greer, isn't it? Like, okay, guys, all you're doing is just taking stuff that's old and making it into modern language. That's all you're doing. You're not progressing the art at all. Do you know?
But I suppose from that point of view, they would say...
but like, you may as well be just doing surrealism again. What's the point? Like, try and find the next fucking art form or the next thing in painting. Yeah. Do you know? And that's why I love Barford and Chapman, because they're like, right, we think that we can get to enlightenment by doing this. And we're going to try it. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And because they do some of like the really old stuff, like the Goetia stuff, and they're scrying. Scrying is the proper word?
Yeah.
Scrying these gods and aethers and tarot cards and whatever. Like, that's fucking old school magic as you can get.
Yeah.
Do you know? So they're doing the old ceremonial stuff, but they're doing it with the... How to say it? They're not doing it just for the sake of doing it, which is what I think most people do it for. They're saying, I spoke to Boone yesterday, and Boone thinks you're a dickhead. No. No, I'm going to talk to Boone because Boone, look, man, my head is fucking wrecked with the missus. Is there anything, just give me a sign of what to do. Just don't tell me to kill her. Do you know? Please. But if you do tell me, no, I'm not going to finish that. No, but they're doing stuff with... They're just taking the old stuff and they are actually moving it forward. It's progressivism in magic, in chaos.
And that's the Magia stuff, which is the most recent iteration, and Alan hopes is the final iteration of the teaching or whatever. Is that this word recapitulation of the teaching? It's the recreation of it in the to keep it going rather than becoming stagnant and that kind of thing. So it's
because apparently he's going to have a new book this year. Yeah, it should be this year anyway.
Should be this year. Yeah. Which is the See, I find it hard to talk about this because I'm kind of going. I don't want to talk for other people. I don't want to talk for Alan. I don't want to kind of. He hasn't announced these things, but he also talks about it fairly open. So I just kind of on somewhat unsteady ground, knowing what I can't talk. Yeah, so there's a book coming out which is going to be teaching the Magia stuff. But right now, you can go to Magia, which is Magia, which is a word that basically means the perfection of philosophy. Right, it's an old word, among other things, but it's and magiateaching.org. And you can go, and there's 12 teachings, 12 audios that you can listen to, which, when I heard them first, I found it very, I suppose the cadence and the way he was talking and the kind of speed and all that very off-putting. I didn't enjoy it. It took me a while to get round to it, to send it. What is this? You know, it's so different. And it's kind of like, so you have the teaching, which is quite somber and serious, sounding almost channeled, but you know, most people when they channel, they do this kind of weird thing to the voice where they don't talk in their own voice. They'll talk and they'll say, I am Ra. I am the god of the sun. I am here, good people. Please listen to me.
I am the great Cornholio. My bunghole.
But they do this, and it's like it's funny because Abraham Hicks, they did it and they had this voice, and then after a while, just went, yeah, we're not doing that voice anymore. It's like, you know, in V, remember the old TV show where they had the voice box thing for the first series, and then the second series just went, yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not
just
doing
ignore
that.
that.
Pointless.
It's like that. So it's kind of it's a slower cadence. It's kind of I suppose it is somewhat channeled anyway. But then there's the Q&As where it's just him talking to people, and he's back to, you know, being funny, and you know, it's quite not humorous in the sense of comedy, but in lightness of heavy topics, if you know what I mean. It's you know, laughing and stuff like that. Kind of similar, I suppose, if you've ever listened to a talk by Adi Da or any of the kind of the really funny guru guys, like that in that documentary that at some point we'll talk about, lighten up, that really funny old guy who's just laughing and has the belly laughing.
The old yogi. Yeah.
You know, but very serious, and can equally turn and can be very not serious, very I don't know, words fail me at the minute, but you know, you can get could say something in a sense devastating, or world shattering, or you know, completely change your view, but in a kind way, and in a kind of humorous kind of way. Anyway, so
because there's one bit where there's an American guy, and he's been like, he kind of asked Alan, why have I not gotten enlightenment yet? And so Alan spends a good 10 or 15 minutes delving into where the root of this problem is, and it must be heartbreaking for the poor Yank, like, because it's like you've wasted like 15 years of your life, man.
But but like we're all doing that. And the thing that I love about the Magia stuff is that, because the thing I've banged on about for years is that there isn't enough, in a sense, like say personal development, shadow work, or that kind of thing in magic circles. And there's a whole section in the Magia stuff which is binding, which is what that section is coming from in the teaching, where it is that you look through your life, through your different roles or shadows, how to play out in your life, and you try and remove them. So there is a kind of a personal development is completely the wrong word, but it's a way of, you know, people will know what I mean by that. You know, it's a way, it's a shadow work kind of process. Again, not the right word, you know. So he's talking about that in the thing, and he's going through the whole different things, and it's about your man looking for awakening, but what he's really seeking is more of what he already has, not the awakening kind of thing. It's a very interesting. But when he's done binding with me, which I sent to you, Alan, Alan Chapman did a binding with me, and he's done with a couple of other people that I know and I've seen. And there is that moment where you're, as you can read in mine, where the whole way through you can't see it, you can't see it, you can't see it. Alan can see it, possibly the entire world can see it, but you don't see it. And then there's the moment where you go, shite. Look what I've been doing. You know
that's
what I mean?
Where I fucked up 25 years ago.
Yeah. But there's in that, and things I've talked about before with different kind of, you know, when I suddenly had that freight train of the realizing that the victim playing I was doing, there's both things of where it's horribly embarrassing in one point, but in another way, massively relief, unbelievable relief that I don't have to fucking do this anymore. Thank God. Oh wow, that's great. But at the same time, oh my God, I did that for a long while. And that's the embarrassment is not more that you did it; it's that you didn't realize you were doing it.
Of course. Yeah, that's everything, isn't it? Your whole life, like you just fall into these traps and stuff. I was talking about this with Aga yesterday, in that like. So my father-in-law has the ranch down there, and he brings us horse riding, but he's trying to teach me horse riding and pointing out my mistakes. But the problem is, he's the worst teacher in the world, because the only teaching style he knows is shouting his fucking head off, you know?
So he's like every single Irish driving instructor, yeah?
So, yeah, but he's shouting to me in, like, my Polish it's okay, all right? I'm passable in most situations. I can speak and get a conversation going and keep it going to a certain level. However, Richard speaks in a local dialect, and he gets his grammar all over the place, and I haven't a fucking clue what's going on, you know? And he's shouting at me stuff like, tighten and loosen the reins. Hold on now, what? Your arms aren't long enough. My arms are...
Be on and off the horse equally.
Where are your fucking arms? Like, my arms are attached to my body. What's he talking about? Where are my arms? You know what I mean? Like, but he means like where are my hands? My hands on the horse, like, you know, kind of thing. Or where am I holding the reins? And I'm giving him too much or too little. And I was just saying to Ag, I was like, because I got annoyed one time and I shouted back. I was like, I don't fucking know what the fuck he's telling me, you know?
Yeah. And
the horse just kind of sat there going, oh, this is fun. Let's see what happens, some fireworks. And anyway, he calmed down. We were all best friends again. But this is the thing, look, I don't mind being shouted at. I've worked in building sites, I've worked in pubs and kitchens and all like that. People lose their tempers and they shout. I don't have a problem being shouted at, as long as I know what I'm being shouted at for.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And I was saying this to Aga the other night, and I was saying, look, it reminded me of working with my dad when I was a teenager, because if I'd make a mistake, he'd just go, "You're some fucking idiot, aren't you?" I was like, "What? Well, generally, yeah, I suppose I am, but like, what's this got to do with work? You know, what's this got to do with what I have to... Can you not fucking see the mistake?" Well, no, I just asked you to point out the error that I've made in my ways, Father dearest. Sometimes I would actually talk to him like this on the building site just to embarrass him around the other builders. It's fucking hilarious. And he's just saying, oh, for fuck's sake, you're never going to fucking learn. Well, show me. And go off and get more fucking cement there, will you? I'm like, how am I supposed to learn? Like, you know, this kind of thing. But the thing is, like, I know that I have fallen into similar habits with Mickey.
Right.
When I give out to him, like, I'll say, no, don't be as harsh, because he's only fucking 4 years old. But at the same time, I give out instead of explaining why I'm giving out.
Yeah.
And it's a trap I've fallen into, because I've seen this behaviour my whole life, and I've also had it. I'm nearly 40 now, so I've had this for 40 years, and now like, I have to break it. Yeah. You know, so this is perfect for a binding thing.
Yeah. So it's the role you're playing, basically.
It's the role you're playing. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go back to the first time you remembered. Isn't that it?
Well, no, first is you will be doing something. Say you're doing a meditation practice, or you're doing something that's personally meaningful, and you get interrupted by the thought of your dad on the building site shouting at you for being fucking idiot. And you go, right, thanks very much for... Come in, please, into the house.
Father dearest, welcome.
Well, the whole, not just your dad, but the role, that thing. Thanks for letting me know.
Sure, yeah.
And so then it's kind of binding's quite hard, and it's very easy to put people astray. And I'm definitely not an expert, and I always end up having to ask for help of the people who know better. So this is a bad explanation of it. But so you start off with the situation that it is. And then you kind of you look through it to see, well, what's the apparent name of the role I'm playing, as if you were casting someone in a play, you know, and this is, well, what's this role? And you go, well, it's the angry firefighter, or it's the annoyed father, or whatever it is. So you give it an apparent name. Then you look through all the different times in your life that the similar role has played out in your life, and then you kind of bring it back to the kind of earliest you can, but it doesn't have to be. Like, I mean, you're probably not going to find the earliest instance of an awful lot of things, because some things happen before, you know, you're like pre-verbally, like before you have words to actually. That's really tough, because, like, how do you describe something that is in your brain and there's no words around it? So when you get it to that, when you do this, you know, the whole thing is the binding process. But there's a number of things that you go through where you look at it as it's like. You know, falsehood, is it contraction, is it, you know, and that actual thing that you're looking for in it is, I was going to say usually, but it's never actually, it doesn't appear in the scenario. And that's a very kind of interesting thing to...
it's like it's your impression of the scenario while you're in that scenario.
Yeah, and
it's usually upside down, because you're in that situation and you see the roles that, like for example, me being cheeky with my dad. Yeah. So I see the role as like, oh, well, if I can make him laugh, then he won't be angry at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or it's coping with it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a coping thing. Okay, so then they would say, okay, so the coping thing is this role that you're playing. You should be playing the other role of maybe the instigator or
well, what the thing is that what you find is everyone is playing the same role. It's just one is an active version of it and one is a passive version. So there's an angry thing.
Yeah.
So in the case of, say, if someone being angry or whatever, it's not that because I got hung up. It's like, it's not that thing of where, oh, you're really annoyed about the part of you, like you don't really hate this guy. It's the bit in you hate. Fuck that. That's not, I can't have that. Like, I mean, there's some truth to it, but it's not, it's not a golden rule. But it's realizing that the entire, there's an active and passive thing. And what happens, so say in the situation where your dad's shouting at you, it's not secretly that you're really shouting at your dad, though it could be, like, but it's just that's, the reciprocal and opposite roles and stuff like that. But there's like a transmission scene that happens at some point, which is, that if you can find the earliest point where this role played out, that's where it happened. Where you make a case of mistaken identity on thinking this is true about creation, about life. But it's a role, it's a shadow, it's a thing that's fooled you into getting the opposite of what you care about. And you kind of, when you realize, and it's so hard that particularly the first one, to get your head around the entire thing. And then when you kind of realize that, say someone criticizes you when you're a kid, and then you've spent your entire life criticizing yourself, it's the same role because it was transmitted to you and you made the mistake of that being the thing. So then at the end of all that, you try and find out what the real name of it is. And once you have the real name of it, you've Rumpelstiltskined that bastard, and you now have the, you power over him and all that. Again, terrible explanation of the whole thing. Do your own investigation into it. Possibly talk to Alan, to get a better appreciation of the whole thing. If it sounds like nonsense the way I'm saying it, it's definitely the way I'm saying it, not the process, because the process is fantastic. But how you know when you're no longer playing the role will be, for example, in your case, you're talking to your dad, he starts shouting at you as you're a fucking idiot, and the role doesn't play out. You just go, okay. You don't have the automatic. Yeah. You don't play the character. You don't play that. It doesn't follow through, and then you go, all right. So that's no longer played.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think you've explained it very well. That's what I got from it as well.
Yeah, there's definitely nuances and stuff.
He starts off the teaching with a very simple meditation of the fire practice. That was called
the fire practice. Yeah, it's very similar to the noting kind of meditation that people would be aware of. But there's a continuation.
It's a simple one, because at first with meditation, people will say, "Oh, how do I keep my mind restful?" Well, with this, you don't.
You don't.
Actually, you don't, because you take the idea and you say, like, could be happening, like, oh Jesus, I have to put out the bins tomorrow. I can't forget to put out the bins tomorrow, right? And then you have that you're in your head, and you can repeat it, and then you imagine that it's the arms, or what do you call it, prongs of a fire.
Yeah, flame.
It's just something coming out of the fire. That's all it is. And then you can burn it, get rid of it. It's gone.
Yeah, and then you
start it again.
There's 4 parts to each of the unbinding practices, they're called. And the fire one, you start off with just very simple noting thing. You close your eyes and you go, oh, I'm thinking about bins. And then you go, oh, I can hear the wind. I can hear a cat. But not engaging. You're not kind of... you're just noting it. You're just and his whole thing is you're looking as just to see. You're not trying to work out the meaning. You're not trying to heal it. You're not trying to stop it. You're not trying to increase it. You're just looking. It's like, a great example he gave me on this is that there's a sentence on a piece of paper in front of you, and he goes, is the word fox in that sentence? And you look, yeah, the word fox is there. You're not trying to work out what the sentence is. You're not going to try to work out what the meaning of the piece of paper is or why there's a sentence on it. You're just looking to see, is that there or not? And so you do this kind of thing where you're just noting it for any number of time. And then you go into the second part of the thing, which is, the first one is the exoteric, and this is the esoteric section, I suppose, where it's you start with the mantras. Awakening is a fire. There's been a couple of them, so I was confused in my head. With no choosing between one thing or another, just burn. So you don't have, which is the thing you're describing, where you just, everything, is one thing. You let it just be what it is. And then eventually you go between the two different things. Go back to the exoteric thing. And the two of them, which is the fruit of the practice, is that you can't tell the difference between them anymore. I've never got to that bit, ever. And then the dissolution is the fourth bit, where it's, everything is found within in itself. But I find the first bit very good, and I can get to a very kind of calm state, and my mind kind of does stop. Not stop. It slows down, or it doesn't. Or I can go. When you're meditating and you kind of go, oh, I'm getting a bit bored, And rather than kind of acting on that, you just kind of go, oh, well, that's bored. That's what that looks like.
That's what that is.
Yeah. And, you know, and it kind of, not dissipates. It takes its power away. It stops us from going from, oh, I'm bored. Yeah, I'm bored. I'm going to stop this. It just stops us from getting to the bit where you then get up. It's like, oh, there's boredom. Okay. There's a cat. There's the wind.
There was I had gone into these first when you gave them to me, or when you told me about the. No, wasn't that it? Didn't I have some message from Minerva about on the podcast, and I was telling you about she told me something about Magia or something was the message.
Oh yeah.
And you told me, oh, that's what Alan Chapman's doing, and I nearly fucking fucking exploded.
Yeah.
And so I did get it. I got into them and I listened to the first 5, and then I got distracted and I went away from them. And I have no idea why. I always meant to come back to them. And yourself and Beanot, especially Beanot, were like, go on. Or Beanot gave me a kick up the arse and told me to get back into it. So I did. And I listened to them all when I was down there. And it's funny because the first one that I came back to then was what I suppose is the modernization of what the HDA is. And
the silent knowing.
The divine self. No, the divine self.
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay, I suppose we should talk about that as well. But the divine self is this idea that you say this prayer during the meditation, and it goes, heart of my heart, my divine self, I offer you my momentary fate and place my eternal destiny in your hands.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing because
this is the beloved unbinding practice. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the section on the website is called the
Mystery of the Divine Human Being.
Mystery of the Divine Self, or Divine Human.
Divine Self. Yeah.
Divine Self's the first one. Yeah. But it's the same thing because you're just saying, right, there's something bigger than me, higher than me, more knowing than me, that knows me better than I know myself.
Yeah, like who are we to know what will make us happy? You know?
Yeah, well, yeah.
How's that been working out for us?
I haven't a fucking clue. You know, but there is this divine thing or something, whatever you want to call it, the HDA, divine self, higher consciousness, and by doing the beloved, by doing this, you're saying, you know, give us a hand here. I know you're in control, and I'm going to give you control of me because I know that it'll lead to better things. Does that make sense? Now, I presume if anyone doesn't know about this stuff, they're going to be like, this guy's fucking barking mad. But this made loads of sense. Loads of sense.
Yeah, but it is like the beloved thing. It's kind of, you offer up all of the things. But the important thing to remember that means you also offer up the good things. It's not just all the negatives. So in the beloved sense, all that you offer, your momentary fate, you know, that which is the thing that is apparent to you at the moment, that seems apparent to you at the moment, and then your overall destiny you're handing up. But that includes that, I start feeling bliss. That equally is handed over to the beloved. You know, you walk through all of it. It's not that you kind of hand up just the bad stuff to get to the bliss. It's you walk through all of these things. It's my understanding anyway. You walk through all of these things to find out where they're going. I just want to go back to the silent knowing thing, which is the open.
But you know what? One other thing on it.
Sorry.
It's very similar to the what's the word? Oath that you make in the AA as when you take the master of the temple position or whatever.
Right.
Because that I don't remember word for word, but it's something like in everything that happens it's something like this. For everything that happens throughout my day, it will be
like a direct communication from God. That one.
No. It's something like that, but it's more like it will be not a test, but it's like it will enhance my soul. It will make my soul stronger. Okay. So something like that. So it's quite similar to this. It's like I'm dedicating everything to the higher self by doing this. It's very, very similar. Very similar. But it was 21st century.
Yeah,
you know,
people don't like the surrender thing though at all. Like I'm not surrendering myself. And goes, well, maybe look at it.
Well, fucking lose the fucking ego, bitch. No.
So the silent knowing, it starts, the whole Magia stuff starts with silent knowing. It actually starts with a brilliant line. It goes, so any questions? But he talks about that, the whole notion of that because the first, I think it's a minute of the talk, of the audio, is not the video, is silence. In a sense, silence. It's in Greece, so there's like water, there's seagulls, there's a cat, whatever, so it's like an attempt at silence. But he says it's appropriate to start in silence because that's the thing that's brought you here. And it's this idea of the silent knowing. And I was confused about this for a while. I assumed, wrongly, that the silent knowing was kind of like a guide in the sense of a HGA or a spirit or something like that. And it's not. It's not something that you kind of, it's not a voice in your head going, turn left, turn right, go down there, buy a green car. It's not, it's the impulse or the compulsion or the reason that we are here talking about this, that we are looking for this, that, it's that thing that's within you that is trying to find whatever it is that we're trying to find by being part of your
soul, yeah.
Whatever, but it's not like a voice that's going, oh, read Jason Miller's new book. Oh, you'll find answers. Oh, that Damien Eccles.
Burn them all.
Oh, no, yeah. Kill everyone. That was my kind of confusion, was that I was assuming it was a bit like a spirit guide or a HGA, in the sense of that, the traditional kind of thing that we have where you ask, in your case, Minerva, a question, and she comes back and goes, oh, lollipops. Or whatever it is the symbol she said. But so I had a session with Alan last week, which is, anyone can, you just book a session with him. It's on the website. I'm not anything special in that. But it was just because I wanted to talk to him about the whole idea of fate, because where we've talked about on the podcast before about how the whole kind of pandemic lockdown conspiracy thing has just kind of destroyed my entire belief in most things, because it all just seems ridiculous. And it's like when it's shown a mirror, when you see other people, good people, intelligent people believing such nonsense, you kind of go, well, what nonsense am I believing, and where is it to put my faith and my trust? And so saying to like, why should I trust Magia or Rune Soup Premium membership or Jason Miller or Jason Lives or Buddhism or pick whatever you want? And he goes, right. So he says, stop. So silent knowing is the only thing you have to trust in, and that's within you. So you don't have to look to Magia, you don't have to look to Zen, you don't have to look to Hinduism or anything like that. It start with that feeling, that thing. Notice it, look at it. Don't try to heal it. Don't try to make it stronger. Don't try to work out what it is. Just look at it. Look just to see what it is. And as you start looking at it, it'll develop, or it'll bring you on the journey, or it'll allow you to, it'll take you to where it wants to go, which is the word from the teaching. It'll start expanding or revealing or whatever it is, but it starts with you and starts with you looking, which is he prescribed for me to just do the first bit, the exoteric part of the fire practice, where I just describe, just look just to see what it is and how it is. And he's saying that some people have this kind of idea that the awakening experience and the enlightenment experience is that one moment where, oh my God, there it is. He says the awakening is the entire evolution or evolving, not either of those words, the entire thing of that revealing of what the silent knowing is trying to say, and that the test of fate, which he talks about at the beginning of the teaching, is just looking at that and allowing it to take you where it's going. So I've gone, right, perfect. Means I don't have to believe in any external guru person and what they're saying or whatever. It's that, come on, it's like the power was within me all along, man.
Yeah.
Just, see those red shoes? Just
I've been saying this to you for ages, man. Stop looking outside. It's inside,
Yeah. But it's an interest, because I used to because I was talking about that, and I was describing what this silent knowing feels to me, and it feels like I've done something wrong. It feels like mourning. It feels like, one way of describing it is if say you've broken up with someone and you're still yearning for them, so you've lost a beloved, and you're in love with it, or as if I had a child that died 10 years ago and I've never got over it, or there's some sort of that, and he's kind of going, yeah, there you go, it's classically describing the things, and he goes, and I was going, all right, I just thought that was depression. He goes, or anxiety or whatever, and he goes, well, no, that's the thing. So he says, just look at that, but don't try to heal it or fix it, or what's the word, work it out. Don't it's don't try to interpret it. That any of that. Just look at it and see what it is, and let that go. So that's what I've been doing, and that's been great because that's. So it's like one of those things, that when you could hear it a million times, and then one day you go, oh yeah,
yeah. Until you get it, you're not going to get it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Your man Joseph Campbell was saying this as well. But his thing is transcendence is transcendental. Transcendence is transcendental.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm mixing up. But it's the same. It's the same thing. Like until you know what it is, you can't put your finger on what it is. And they say this throughout in the second book, in the Urn anyway. They're like, describing.
Wouldn't it be great to have a command of the English language?
James Joyce and fucking Ulysses I am, ain't they? Just making up fucking words all over. It's willy-nilly. That describing an awakening to someone who hasn't had the awakening doesn't really make much sense. Like I was telling you one there last week or something about how I had this realisation about time and ever-changing, and everything is always changing, always at the same time. And as I was typing, I was like, he's not going to get this because it only makes sense to me because I had this, what for me was a kind of profound realisation or awakening of our universal relationship with time and how we look at it arseways, wrongly. Like there was some book I was reading and it was like, once you open a door and go into the next room, you're actually a different person in that room. And think about it. Like if you actually boil it all down to really, really basic stuff, through even the molecular changes that have happened in you going into that next room, the person that's on the other side of that door when that door closes isn't exactly the same person as it was. And you're like,
and we know this to be true, and this is scientific fact, because how often we forget why we were going into the room.
Yeah. Isn't it mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I had this mind-blowing thing, and I was typing to you, I was like, he's not going to get this. But I think you did get it anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Well, I can understand the words. I can understand the concepts, but I probably don't get the
significance of it.
Or the enlightenment or the awakening that you
exactly.
got.
Yeah.
It's like I know, that's true. And then one day I go, oh yeah, time. Yeah, no, I had that all wrong.
But it is, but it's like what you were saying there, like the thing about, someone actually had to spell it out for you, because I know me and you talk about stuff like this a lot, and as well you've had your own therapy stuff as well, but it hadn't sunk in. But there's nothing wrong with it not sinking in. It's just that you weren't at the place that you needed to get to, And that's what I really, really like about the Magia stuff, because you start off at a really basic thing. Really basic, like this meditation of noticing what's going on in your surroundings, but not placing anything on it. You're just saying, birds, bins tomorrow, cheese, lollipops. You know, but then like the end of it is total Telema and Kabbalah. Like by the end of it, it's like, right, okay, like it's total higher self, higher consciousness. It's carrying on the fucking lineage of what's gone on before in the Western magical tradition. And it's a huge step to go from birds are singing to surrendering.
Come down the mountain with your lamp.
Coming down the mountain with you have given your life or your soul to this invisible thing who has your back. It's mental. But for anyone I know who does it, and including me in it, although I think I'm doing it in a different way, but what Alan has done with the Magia teaching, he has taken pretty much everything I've learned about this kind of stuff and put it all into one lovely, neat little package as the teachings. And I fucking can't wait for this book. I cannot wait for this book, man. I'm so excited.
I've the transcript of he sent me the transcript of the teachings, the audios, and there's a few changes, but it's mostly just style or thing. Right. And it's amazing because I've listened to Magia audios a lot over the last year and a bit or whatever. But reading it is a different experience. There's something that you have a different relationship with the teaching or whatever than you do necessarily with the audio. Because sometimes I find with say the audio you can kind of probably drift out because the cadence or it's a bit slow or it's going a bit fast or maybe you can't understand the accent, or sometimes the questions being asked and the audios are quite low and stuff like that. But when you're reading it at your pace, at your kind of thing, that it seems to resonate particularly with me a bit more. And there's definitely, but also because of the fact that I had been talking to Alan and things that sort of like that cleared it. That hour and a half I had with him, whatever, was cleared up an awful lot of different things. And then he did another nearly 10 hours of talks he did on the anniversary of the Magia teaching. And through all that, I've listened to that a number of times now, and I've definitely have a better appreciation of the whole thing. But even with all that, it was the rereading it that solidified it, that kind of codified it, that give me an awful lot of those moments of, oh yeah, all right, man. But which I assume this time next year we'll go, oh, I just thought I understood that. There's a further thing. It's like he mentions in one of those audios where he's talking about Peter Kingsley. He's going, it's funny, you read Peter Kingsley and as you progress along the journey, the book is nearly a completely different book. The words are the same, but it's telling you something completely different. And I think the Magia teaching is very like that. Whereas, the first time I went through it, my understanding of it, it's like you explain something, go, yeah, no, I understand what all the words mean, to a point. But then you get the deeper understanding, and to the point where the kind of analogy of, say, the things like the forest or the mountain start making sense rather than just being a kind of poetic, kind of nice thing. Yeah. And like that whole thing of the storm where he talks about, the lightning on the water and the fishing boats and all that. That's one of my favourite things I've ever heard in my life, and one of the most... it's like I was talking to Beanod about it, and he's like, remember old ads for the lottery where it was like, it could be you, and a big hand comes in. There's a moment in the storm where it goes, where in my heart I just wanted to, in my heart I still love you and I just want to come home. That bit, I'm getting it slightly wrong, but that was like a huge big hand pointing right into my heart, going, there you go, that's it, that's the thing. And it's going, oh!
That was weird, Tommy.
That was weird. At the point where I said, the big hand come in and touched my heart, your card
memory
filled.
card got
your heart,
filled.
The heart of the computer was filled with knowledge.
Very
So we had to
strange,
pause
yeah.
and start.
Yeah, look, man, I think everyone should listen to the Magia stuff with an open mind and an open heart kind of thing, and just say, right, I'm gonna give this a go. Because for me, it's like, I know, look, I'm like a broken record at this stage now. I like the idea of Telema. I really do think it's a good idea. But I hate the ritual and the ceremony and the Gnostic Mass and all that nonsense. It just doesn't speak
Semen
to
cakes.
me. And the sperm cake. Well, you never know.
Oh, you've changed your tune.
No, I haven't changed my tune. I'm not going to. No,
What
but all I'm
happens
saying
in
is
the
that
countryside in
no,
Poland?
it's like the Christmas carp. I've never tasted it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm fairly sure that since we're living in the simulation, that as soon as that fucking sperm cakes hits my tongue, the camera crew is going to jump out from behind the trees and go, "Ha ha, gotcha! Took 40 years, you fat fuck, but we got you." 39 years. I was 39 the other day. Happy birthday to me. And
was it?
which is weird. It's like it was a day after Beanots and 2 days after your man, after Chapman. Weird.
Right.
And I saw that on the Discord.
Because I was thinking, it's funny, like, I was going, I don't know when Spud's birthday is. I must ask him. And I was like, all right, so I've missed it.
Yeah.
So at least part of my brain was concerned about your birthday. So happy
Thanks.
birthday.
No, it's fine. No, but like, it's great, man. I took it off Facebook and like, no one remembered it. And then there was a mad panic among my aunties like a day or two after. It was hilarious. My phone is bursting going off. Oh, happy birthday. Oh, geez, sorry I missed that. Like, this is exactly why I took it off Facebook, so people wouldn't remember it,
Seemingly, Facebook have stopped doing that with the Facebook updated there recently, and it's like worse than it ever was, blah, blah, all that thing. But they've stopped announcing birthdays. So
all right.
Lots of people in trouble from now on.
Well, good. I hate it. It was pointless. People haven't spoken to since the year before. Happy birthday, man. Hope you're well. Yeah, when's the last time? It was last year.
Yeah.
Like, just stop with the birthdays. Just don't do it. Anyway, yeah, so with Telema and also with the Kabbalah stuff I've been learning and studying, it's just spoke to me because it's about getting in touch with yourself, either your higher self or your inner self or your soul or whatever the fuck it is. I can't even put a name on it. But through both of these things, like I've become the person I am, Tommy. I think I've become better at living or whatever, or I'm getting better anyway. But then the Magia stuff is that it's just taking these two systems that I would know fairly well by now, and I don't know the other ones that it's based on. I don't like. I'm never going to claim that I do, but it's all based on the Western magical tradition. That's what he says, and you know, like you'd know the names Gurdjieff, but I don't know a lot about him other than a couple of the audiobooks that I've listened to, kind of about Western magical tradition. But it's just that it just kind of rolls everything into a nice, neat little package that's digestible, and it's not highfalutin and full of "Thine soul beeth the crystal maze of the cheese grater." Okay, Alistair.
If you have eyes to see, you will understand the nature of the cheese grater, but fools will not.
It's like, shut up, Alistair, will you? Who the fuck are you trying to impress with this language? I mean, he must have had a fucking...
The cow is in the field, not the field in the cow.
He must have had a major fucking horn for Charles Dickens, you know? It's like, I'm going to fucking impress Charles with fucking Equinox Volume 3. Wait for this thing. And with the alabaster incense... You will shake it upon thine second child, not thine first, because thine first you have sacrificed to Pan already. Shut up, Al, will you? Just tell me what the fuck I need to do. So, Alan Chapman has kindly done that for the whole world and taken the best things of higher consciousness or becoming better or becoming enlightened and put them into his 12 teachings. 12, isn't it? 12 teachings. Yeah. And it's just,
dodecahedron.
It's deadly, like it's really, really great. I love Alan Chapman. I love Alan Chapman. I love him.
I can't wait till you get into Peter Kingsley and all of your happiness is removed from
Yeah. Well,
that's unfair.
I think I'll wait till 2021 or until there's a vaccine at least. You know?
He's not depressing in the way you think he's depressed, or the way I'm kind of doing it. But he's I like him. I really like Peter Kingsley.
What is it? Is it kind of nihilism or what?
No, not at all. It's definitely very in line with the whole Magia stuff. Like it's like Alan, huge fan. You know, agrees with he's would say that. Peter Kingsley's one of the ancestors in the Magia sense of ancestors, and same with Jung and all these people are. But he's just, I really like an awful lot of what he says, but my big gripe with him is that he has this his books, while they're ostensibly about Empedocles and Parmenides, they're mostly about Peter Kingsley.
Right.
So
okay.
And
it's like your man in the Bob Lazar film, was it?
What
the Bob Lazar one, the one we saw recently. We did a podcast.
Oh, the way that the director, is actually the main character.
Christ.
Yeah, it's like that. So
right.
You think the documentary's about Bob Lazar, but it's really about beardy director.
In his
but
nice
that's not to
apartment.
dismiss Peter Kingsley because he's great. He's great. And I love him. I love him, but he's definitely not like.
I wouldn't share Chapman's views of he's a bit grim about the future for humanity, and I don't really have that.
Well, he's not. He has the thing which is kind of, I suppose, the Kingsley thing is that he's neither positive nor negative about the future. He's just going, this is the way it is, and it's that the kind of a. But he would have a definitely think that we're coming to the end of this particular epoch or eon or whatever, and to tend to it like a dying person. You would, so have it like not, let's make it as nice as and easy and the perfect death as possible. But we're not going to have this. They would say we're not going to have the Star Trek future that we dream of. That's just not going to happen. But Alan Chapman's not infallible either. But that,
did anyone think we were? I mean, it's a fucking television program. Like, do people not know that?
I know. I genuinely think a lot of people. I know. Mutual friends of ours would certainly think that would be the hope, that would be the dream. Like that's what people thought. I suppose some people thought when Bernie Sanders, was going to come in, that he was going to usher in the Star Trek future. Like that was where that was crushed for most people. That dream. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think my attitude to people has changed quite a lot over the last couple of years, especially. Like I had always I remember in school and even in college. I remember in college a professor called me naive because I tried to see the best in people. But like, why? Like, I want to see the best in people, And I do now. It's just, and I think that
It's naive to see the best of people in the same way as it's naive to see the worst in people.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's just that, like, I've definitely come to the opinion that, like, cities are bad. Cities has too many people. They're bad for people. I think, no, it's not even that. It's just dealing with people on an individual basis is the best way to get anything done and to do things, rather than just shouting at each other on the internet and stuff. Like, big groups of people, bad. Small groups of people, good. That's kind of the way my thinking has become. And I don't see that. I don't know. I think, like in the new stuff for the year anniversary stuff, he talks about this film by, what's the big American guy bowling for?
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore. So Michael Moore has this new documentary about how the green industry is as corrupt as
Planet of the Humans.
Planet of the Humans. That's it. But the problem with Planet of the Humans is it's as soon as it came out, it was lambasted by everyone because a lot of the facts are based on 10-year-old stats, which aren't common.
There's a big scene in it where they're brought to like a field full of reflectors or whatever, solar panels, and your man go, "Oh, we need, so much. This will only light a small candle, or something equivalent, But like that's a 10, 15-year-old plant, and it's not indicative of what is possible now.
No, it's not. So like that's an issue I kind of would have with Chapman in that I don't. Okay, so you're saying he doesn't have a positive or he has a neutral attitude to the future.
Well, it's the Buddhist, I suppose, look at the thing is that it's, that story where there's a guy and he's a farmer and the bull runs away and then the townspeople come and go, "Oh, isn't this terrible? Your bull has ran away." And then he goes, "Oh, it's neither terrible nor good." And then the next day the bull comes back and the local town people go, "Oh, isn't it great? He's back." And goes, "It's neither good nor bad." And then, the son breaks his leg. The town people come up and go, "Oh, isn't it awful that your son has broke his leg? It's neither good nor bad." And the next day the army come to conscript them and say, "Oh, he's broken leg. He's not going to go to war and die." The townspeople go, "Isn't it great that he's not going to go to the war and die?" And the father goes, "It's neither good nor bad." And I think that's the kind of approach of that. The pain isn't in the event. It's in, reaction to it. So if you're looking for a positive or a negative thing, that's where the struggle is. That's where. So if you just see it, the whole message of Magia is to look just to see what it is, rather than having an opinion about it. And it's us in a sense, because he does say a number of times, "Oh, this is bleak," and he laughs, and it's seemingly depressing. It's apparently dark and all that, and it has a nice wee laugh about it. But that's only because we've decided in some form or whatever that we want the Star Trek future, or the thing, and so that it's only a bad thing because we're not getting what we want. Not necessarily. It's a good thing in the sense of creation and eternity and stuff, because you have the circle of life, death.
Exactly. Plus also I think in one of the earlier talks he mentions that the COVID-19 hasn't been all bad, because we've seen that having families together, having small groups of people together, like communities are,
where it's at,
kind of re-establishing themselves, and it's great. And I have to agree with him. I think I remember I interviewed a comedian years ago. Zoltan Kazas is his name. He's getting more and more well known as the weeks go by and all. He's great. He's an American Hungarian, and one of his early jokes, he's in this big club and he's like, "Yeah, man, the internet. Maybe we're just not supposed to all know each other. Maybe we're not maybe. Maybe it's nice that country is all the way over there and we don't know everything about it. Like, do we have to know? But it's like, me and you have spoken about this a lot. It's like, you don't have to have an opinion on everything, And like I was saying this down at the parents-in-law place as well. It's like, man, the father-in-law works from 6:30, 7 in the morning until 8 or 9 at night with the horses and doing building work and all this. He's a load of things going on at the minute. And then he comes home and he watches the national right-wing, paid for by the government propaganda news channel. Basically is what it is. Right. It's like RT News. But
Right.
it's the government's news channel, basically. And he just sits and he watches this thing and he dozes off an hour or two later. But it's been like, I don't know what Irish news is like at the minute, but Polish news is basically 6 people on Skype shouting at each other. Do you know?
In Polish.
Yeah, and he watches this, and every now and again he'll swear at the telly, just kind of agreeing with them, you know? And it's like, why are you doing this to yourself, man? You know what I mean? You work your fingers to the fucking bone, and then you come home and make yourself mad watching telly that, like, politics you have no control or say in at all. You know, don't do this to yourself, man. But sure, whatever, he likes it, so, you know.
Does he like it? Does he like it?
I think he likes knowing what's going on, kind of thing. But I think that's what most people. Sure, I used to be mad into politics. I think it was the same with me, and now I'm just like, I couldn't give a bollocks anñanymore.
I couldn't tell you the last time I seen the news.
All I'm concerned with is the happiness of my friends and family. You know.
Well, that's it. I was going to rudely interrupted your lovely, generous, heartfelt thought there. I get all my news from Reddit, which is probably the worst thing in the world. I can't go, well, if it gets to, the top of all on Reddit, then I should probably know about it. Other than that, I don't care. But it's usually some form of, oh my God, Trump has done another thing. That's all it is. Yeah, how is he going to get away with this
Trump
one?
wore a purple tie today, and that means that, bleh. Yeah, shut up. It's just...
Trump has killed 3 children live on TV. Oh, the Republicans say, oh, well, the context has to be taken into consideration.
So I can't wait for this book. I think it's going to be great. But, like, I wonder, like, I was saying this to you before as well, but, like, I hope it doesn't become a telema thing, because then, like, you see that there's power grabs and stuff going on in that, and there's different lodges. And what do they call lodges, for fuck's sake? You don't go hunting.
Because it's from Freemasons.
You know what I mean? You're not going hunting after you have mass with your fucking semen cakes. You know what I mean? Who'll tell you how?
Protestant Church of Lodges too, doesn't it? Like all the Ian Paisley stuff is the lodge.
Lodges, the orange halls, Masonic.
It's just Freemasonry stuff.
Yeah, it is. That's all it is, you know. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know,
but we could have our own lodge. We could be Irish Lodge.
I'm not in Ireland, man. I'll have a Polish lodge.
I know, but it's all virtual now. Anyway,
I'll set up
we're not allowed meet in person. Like, come on,
set up something down on the farm. Alan can come over, give a chat. For a reasonable fee, I would hope. Tommy, you can come over and do a workshop with 40 servants. Get your missus involved.
Mine will not be a reasonable fee.
To do a yoga workshop. What else can we do? I can provide the shits and giggles, basically. That's all I can do, really, is make people smile. And I can also maybe sell some art. I don't know what I could do. Anyway,
what we call it, Spudfest 2021.
Spudfest, yeah, featuring Alan Chapman. Can you imagine? And horse riding. I'll let you go on the horses as well. We'll have horse therapy. That's what we'll do. Horse therapy, yoga. Alan Chapman's Magia workshops. Personal divinations from Tommy Kelly's 40 servants. But we need a 15,
woodworking.
Man.
Woodworking.
Yeah, we'll do woodworking classes. That would be, this is it, man.
Like
fucking get a website set up, man, and we'll fucking get on this. Oh, my Spud Murphy is down, by the way. I need to tell you that.
Oh, is it? What'd you do?
Bye-bye.